21st, 2023 to order. First item is the pledge of the flag and a moment of silence. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It's always a great opportunity for the board to recognize great students, so it's usually one of my favorite times of the year. Leonard somehow likes doing budgets, but that to me is not the fun stuff of the year. But to recognize great students, both at the middle school and the high school. So at this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Hill for his introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I call up the respective principals, just give a little background to the audience. So the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents Student Leadership Award is given to 3 students at both Sage Park Middle School and Windsor High School who show leadership to the school, academic prowess relative to ability, and service to others in the community. The goal of the award is to focus on students whose accomplishments and activities go beyond the academic success and include service and leadership, making them role models for other students. So at this time, I will call up Principal Leanna Jorgensen to speak to her students from Sage Park Middle School.
Good evening, everyone. So it is with great pleasure that I get to introduce to you tonight 3 amazing students who attend Sage Park Middle School. Keep your eye on these children because they have a very bright future ahead of them. So tonight, the first recipient, tonight's Chase Sinclair is the recipient of the CAPS, Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents Award for Community Service for the 23-24 school year. Want to come sit next to me? Be in the spotlight. You ready? You just said. Chase is an upstanding young man with a bright future ahead of him. Chase has been a member of the Greater Hartford Kappa League leadership team since 21. By all accounts, this program has helped to foster and grow Chase's natural leadership and civic-minded skills. Chase has been involved in helping to register families for community support, including passing out books and toys to local families at the annual Kappa League Toy Drive. He has also served the community at the annual Trunk or Treat event through this organization. One other organization he has been a part of is the Athlete Training and Mentoring Program, where he has learned skills to be a stronger leader, but to also serve as a future mentor. Chase's participation in the various programs has helped him to recognize the importance of giving back to the community. Finally, a little bragging. Last year, Chase took part in a public speaking contest for children dealing with adversity and came in first place. In addition to serving his community at large, Chase is also a member of the Superintendent's Advisory Council for Sage Park Middle School. For the past 2 years, Chase has served on this board, bringing to our superintendent concerns from the student body and working with administrators to bring about change. Chase is also a member of our school's leadership team and just recently participated in our youth empowerment training. Mrs. Haynes, Chase's language arts teacher, shared that he is a hardworking and dedicated young man and a pleasure to have in class. I know he's blushing right now. Chase is a student athlete, and while he can excel in both arenas, his focus is academia. Chase puts effort into everything he does. He is a positive individual and helps contribute to classroom environments by being optimistic and kind. Academically, Chase has maintained honors for all of his 7th grade year and his first quarter of 8th grade. Through my own interactions with Chase over the past couple years, I have noticed his quiet, unwavering strength. Chase's outlook on life and his willingness to be a servant leader has set his trajectory to limitless possibilities. We all look forward to hearing and seeing the great news about Chase in the future. Congratulations.
Horseshoe. You come over here and shake our hands.
It's hardest for the first person
Congratulations.
to go.
Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Picture.
We'll just be over here.
Come in here. Yeah.
Very nice, everyone. Thank you.
All right, brings me to our next student. This year's recipient of the CAPS, Connecticut Association of Public Schools Student Award for Leadership goes to Miss Ella Kemp. Miss Ella? Just a little time for me to embarrass you, just a little bit, good embarrassment. Over the years, Ella has demonstrated the skills and the attributes of a blossoming leader. Ella exemplifies and embodies kindness, compassion, and sympathy, just to name a few. In the classroom, Ella can be seen helping others and taking the initiative when working in groups. She excels at rallying her peers around common goals. Her pleasant disposition and the manner in which she engages her peers propels her into leadership roles in various areas. As a student leader, Ella has been on a high honor and honor roll throughout her time in Windsor. She's been recognized many times for the Student of the Month, as well as VIP status. Ella is currently one of very few students who are taking high honors geometry and high honors algebra as an 8th grade student, both of which are high school level classes. Ms. Rickus, her Technology Student Association advisor and technology teacher, stated that Ella has been an integral part of the TSA team for the last 3 years. During this time, she not only competed at the state level, but also nationally in various events. With a knack for decision-making and a natural inclination to mentor, Ella has steered her team towards success. She is also participating in leadership conferences, bringing back what she has learned to Sage Park. Mrs. Schwartz, Ella's geometry teacher, states that she is a beacon of kindness whose compassionate nature fosters a welcoming and inclusive environment wherever she goes. Her genuine empathy and willingness to extend a helping hand in math class creates a positive impact, making her a true asset. She assumes leadership roles wherever the opportunity presents itself. Ella believes that a leader shows the way for other people, whether they are struggling or just wanting to better their understanding. With that mindset, the future is most certainly bright for Ella. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, last but certainly not least, Ricky Bravo is the recipient of the 23-24 Connecticut Association of Public Schools Superintendent Awards for academic excellence. This is fun. So Ricky has earned and maintained high honors throughout her entire time at Sage Park Middle School, meaning that she has earned A's in each of her classes while balancing soccer and basketball. Ricky's an 8th grader who is currently taking high honors algebra, which is also a high school level class. As a result of her hard work and efforts, Ricky has earned admission into the National Junior Honor Society. During Ricky's time at Sage Park Middle School, she's also earned herself more than 20 academic awards, and she's still counting. Mrs. Burkell, Ricky's math teacher, has stated that Ricky never fails to impress her with her determination, dedication, and leadership skills while working with her peers. She's a very strong math student and demonstrates conceptual understanding of our 8th grade honors algebra curriculum. Ricky's always asking to be challenged mathematically and also shows an immense amount of promise in everything she puts her mind to. Ricky's always strive for high levels of academic achievement. She prides herself on her ability in maintaining her grades while also participating in competitive soccer, practicing 3 times a week with 2 games on the weekend and many times out of state. She's always challenged herself to go above and beyond her learning, doing her own research and projects to enhance her knowledge beyond the classroom. Ricky is a very dedicated and hardworking student who plans to pursue a career in sports medicine as an orthopedic surgeon. In addition to her academics, Ricky volunteers her time with the juniors program for the soccer club that she plays for. She also participates in the Sage Park Pals program and was a member of the Girls Leadership Club with partnership with Loomis Chafee. Mrs. Beatty, our SEL specialist, could not stop raving about Ricky. No, seriously, I had to stop her. She was so impressed that Ricky, at her tender age, is able to work and support her peers as a mediator. Ricky, without a doubt, is a force to be reckoned with. I look so much forward to seeing her in the future. Congratulations.
Congratulations, and I hope you do become an orthopedic surgeon. Stay here in Connecticut.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Principal Jorgensen. At this time, I'll call forward Principal Breon Parker from the high school.
Good evening. Good evening. Strong trio there. Always looking for a student leader, so I'm gonna be watching you. Can't wait to get you across the street. So, over at Windsor High School, we have our own trio that's kind of already blazed that trail. I'm gonna start with the Academic Excellence Award. That recipient is Sophia Wilson. Unfortunately, she was unable to make it this evening. She was a little under the weather, but I'd love to still read her bio and acknowledge her for this award. So Sophia has emerged as a beacon of academic excellence and community engagement, a true enthusiast for education in the local district. Sophia stands as an embodiment of the promising future Windsor Public Schools strives to nurture, as she therefore earned the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendent Award for academic excellence, Art in particular has captured Sophia's heart, and Windsor's art program has proven to be an ideal playground for her creativity. Sculpture and ceramics have become Sophia's canvas for self-expression, and independent studies have allowed them to explore their artistic instincts further. Sophia's former and current teachers at Windsor High School offer nothing but praise. Resilience, together with kindness, describe Sophia's personality. They were just a few of the many words accommodation from AP calculus teacher Kathleen Pointek. Robert Cullen, Sophia's current multivariable calculus teacher, offered a great point stating, Sophia has a tremendous work ethic and determination to succeed. How many other students applying to art schools are taking multivariable calculus, let alone sitting as one of the top students in this course? Beyond the classroom, Sophia is deeply involved in exciting internships at the Windsor Public Library's Makerspace. Sophia has been instrumental in running monthly programs for adults, ranging from embroidery to creating felt bowls. Their contributions also extend to curating book displays, particularly for special occasions like Halloween and Native American Heritage Month. Sophia creates bookmarks online and also helps patrons access the library's free 3D printing services. Sophia is a voracious reader and an ardent artist, pouring their time into ceramics and painting. Art teacher Lisa Smith, who has known Sophia for 3 years, stated, Sophia is not only an incredible, humble student, but she is also very genuine as a person. Sophia has been a leader among her peers, and her sincerity and calm demeanor fosters a learning environment any teacher would appreciate. Their passion extends beyond the art studio and library, as they are actively involved in school activities such as National Honor Society and Rho Kappa National Social Studies Honor Society. Sophia's dedication to excellence has not only earned them a prestigious CAPS Award for academic achievement, but has also earned them a scholarship to the University of Hartford after recently attending a pre-collegiate visual arts portfolio workshop. Eager to further their academic pursuits, Sophia, has applied to several esteemed institutions such as UMass Amherst, Yale, Columbia, and their top choice, Pratt Institute in Brooklyn. Architecture has captured their imagination, providing the perfect blend of math and art, allowing them to create beautiful yet functional structures that serve a purpose. With a list of achievements that includes participation in National Conference for Community and Justice Anytown program and 2 summer programs at University of Hartford, the future holds exciting prospects for this remarkable student. As Sophia's counselor, Ms. Carol Nomoro states, despite all these remarkable qualities and talents, Sophia remains remarkably humble. She does not seek the spotlight for any recognition or her contributions. Instead, she quietly goes about her business, always putting the needs and interests of others before her own. This humility is a testament to her character and is a rare and treasured quality. Indeed, Sophia Wilson's story truly is one of academic excellence, community engagement, and a passion for arts that promises to inspire us all, and is clearly a worthy recipient of the CAPS Award for Academic Excellence. Okay. Yeah, no one's here. Our next award, Community Service, Ariana, Prendergast. Ariana is a shining example of academic excellence, leadership, and unwavering commitment to community service. Her exceptional dedication to both her studies and the well-being of her community has earned her the... Ready for me to talk more about you?
Yeah.
Okay. Ariana's passion for learning and relentless pursuit of knowledge are evident in her academic journey. Ariana's AP Biology and Anatomy and Physiology teacher, Ms. Sindhu Thomas, praised her students, stating, Ariana is incredibly hardworking and focused. She also sets very high standards for herself in regards to her schoolwork. As her former AP Psychology teacher, Jennifer Anderson, states, Ariana is a dedicated, curious learner. She consistently searches outside of her classroom experience to enhance her learning. For example, in AP Psychology, she frequently returned to class with examples of real-world applying content to her life. This commitment to going above and beyond in her studies is a testament to her academic strength. Her excellence extends the realm of STEM, where Ariana's love for science and mathematics truly shines. Stemming from her family's rich background in medicine, with her mother being an APRN and her father a doctor specializing in internal medicine, Ariana has always been immersed in the world of medicine and science. Her great-grandfather even had his own nursing school, which further ignited her passion for the field. Ariana aspires to follow in her family's footsteps and is dedicated to becoming a cardiothoracic surgeon. You want to help me with that?
A cardiothoracic surgeon.
I know when to lean on the kids. With the ultimate goal of saving lives. That's deep. That's cool. Beyond the classroom, Ariana's talents are multifaceted. She has a deep love for music, playing the piano since the age of 5, and dedicated 4 years to singing in her school's choirs under the guidance of Dr. Tracy White. Her musical talents are complemented by her involvement in sports, as she has been an integral part of the Windsor High School's volleyball team since her freshman year. Furthermore, Ariana has been an active member of the Husky Volleyball Club, where she continues to excel both on and off the court. Ariana's sense of responsibility and leadership skills are highlighted by her role as a program director at the Valari's Martial Arts Center in Windsor, where she helps manage the studio. Karate too? Oh, goodness. Okay. She helps manage the studio and assists with various administrative tasks, such as answering phones and encouraging new enrollments. Her dedication to serving the community extends her role as a mentor at Windsor High School's Speed Pass Transition Mentoring Program for the class of 2025. Ariana's involvement in extracurricular activities is equally impressive, as she is a member of the Student Council class of 2024, the National Honor Society, and the Rho Kappa Social Studies Honor Society. She has been recognized with numerous awards, including the All-Academic Award during this past volleyball season. When it comes to community service, Ariana's contributions are remarkable, with over 350 hours dedicated to various causes. She assists in managing the Windsor High School boys volleyball team, participates in events at the Martial Arts Center, helps with choir events, and has volunteered at Hartford Hospital, specifically at the Infusion Center, where she ensured that cancer patients had blankets, food, and water, providing them with comfort, support during challenging times. Ariana's dream is to attend Johns Hopkins University, where she plans to study biology, engage in her own research projects, and volunteer at the hospital, all in pursuit of her lifelong aspiration to become a cardiothoracic
That's right.
surgeon specializing in heart and lung surgery. Her unwavering dedication to her goals, her community, and her education makes Ariana a truly exceptional student and recipient of the CAPS Award for Community Service. She is a role model for her peers and a beacon of inspiration for all of those who have the privilege of knowing her.
Congratulations. Don't. These doctors leave Connecticut, stay here.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Hearing about the stuff she does.
Pardon me?
I'm tired just hearing about all that stuff. That's a lot of work.
Sure it is. She's bright, really bright girl.
Yeah, I'm fine. Nah, you're good, you're good. Nobody cares about me.
Look around and realize that it's you.
Because they're in
No one actually calls me. That's my sensor. Last but not least, Mr. Kevin Corshi, a lifelong resident of Windsor, has been awarded this prestigious award for exceptional leadership qualities, academic prowess, and his unwavering commitment to personal principles. Kevin has been described as nothing short of exceptional. His AP U.S. history teacher, David Topitzer, commends his unparalleled attention to detail in his academic work, Kevin's willingness to embrace constructive criticism, and his status as outgoing de facto leader in the classroom, commanding respect from his peers, sets him apart. As Mr. Topitzer notes, Kevin was always consistently assertive and outgoing. Robert Cullen, Kevin's pre-calculus teacher, further underlines Kevin's character by stating, Kevin is always true to his beliefs and his principles. He is not afraid to stand up and speak out about the things he believes in. These attributes reflect not only his academic excellence, but also his strong moral compass and unwavering commitment to his values. Beyond the classroom, Kevin is actively involved in various clubs and activities. He serves as the first vice president of the gospel choir and as tenor section leader in the chamber choir. Sing something? No? Okay. On the sports field, Kevin excels as a linebacker in football and as a diver in swimming. With aspirations of becoming a captain in the latter, he also participates in lacrosse as a midfielder and also as a long stick midfielder with similar aspirations of leadership on those teams as well. In the JROTC, Kevin holds the position of Operations Squadron Commander, showcasing his commitment to service and leadership. Additionally, as the president of the Greater Hartford Kappa League, Kevin mentors young men of color from grades 6 through 12 in the Greater Hartford area, serving as an inspiring role model. Kevin's dedication extends to his community, where he works as a lifeguard at the Windsor Town Pools for the past 2 years and offers swim lessons to younger children. His favorite age group, 3 through 5? This helps him demonstrate his patience and passion for nurturing young minds. Towards the future, Kevin aspires to become a neurologist, delving into the study of human behavior and cognitive processes. He has set his sights high on renowned institutions like Johns Hopkins, Boston University, Howard, and Harvard to realize his dreams. His motivation to be different, to stand out, and to make a meaningful impact on the world is evident in his unwavering pursuit of knowledge and excellence. When asked what makes him a great leader, Kevin's response is both humble and insightful. It's just Kevin being Kevin. Yeah, that's him. He believes in being authentic and true to himself. He is sociable and relishes connecting with people. Kevin is unafraid to voice his opinions and takes the other's perspectives into account, reflecting his empathetic and inclusive leadership style. He follows his own unique way of thinking, guided by his principles, and seeks to uplift others as an unwavering source of support. In summary, Kevin is not only an outstanding student, but a role model, a leader, and a source of inspiration for his peers and his community. His unwavering commitment to excellence and his distinct approach to leadership make him a deserving recipient of the CAPS Leadership Award.
Congratulations.
They leave, all the doctors leave. They go elsewhere. Oh, picture time.
Thank you, Principal Parker, and I will now turn it back over to President Fury.
Can we really have some incredible students in Windsor Public Schools. It's always, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is always one of my favorite nights of the year. Next item is audience to visitor. So, Ms. Daly, if you'll read your script.
Good evening. This is Robin Daly from the Superintendent's Office. If there is anyone from the public who would like to address the board, you may do so in two different ways. If you are using the Zoom application on your mobile device or computer, you may enter your name, address, and comment into the Q&A feature located at the bottom of the Zoom menu bar. Or you may raise your hand on your computer if your device has a microphone by selecting the participant's icon on the Zoom menu bar and then clicking Raise Hand, or by dialing *9 on your phone. You will be given 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address. You'll be called on to speak. Please do not place the call on speakerphone. No comments can be made against the employees of the school district or children outside of your own. No comments will be made by the board at this time.
Just to let people know who can't hear. Is this mic not working? Can you hear me? You can, okay. I'll try to speak a little louder. As to audience to visitor, at the 2.5-minute mark, if you're in the room, Ms. Taylor will hold up a red card briefly and tell you to start winding down. And then at the 3-minute mark, she'll hold it up and keep it up. And at that point, you really need to finish your remarks. For people who may be calling in and online on the phone and not being able to see a red card, Ms. Taylor will have to interrupt you at that 3-minute mark. So first, looking around the room, is there anybody in the boardroom who'd like to address the board tonight? James, you can't address the board.
That's why I ran.
Yeah. We save 3 minutes every meeting. Is there anybody online who would like to address the board?
Yes, there is. Ms. Clace, you are now unmuted.
Thank you. You hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. This is Darlene Place. I live at 318 Hitching Post Lane. First, I just wanted to congratulate all the students who received awards. That was amazing. And I wanted to congratulate all the members of the board on your election. Congratulations for that. I also wanted to just say I'm looking forward to the resumption of the Town Council Board of Ed joint meetings so that we can start looking at common concerns. And I really wanted to fully support the building of a long-term plan for the infrastructure of our improved infrastructure of our schools. So thank you and good luck for the rest of the evening.
Thank you. What else?
There are no other hands raised. And there are no comments in the Q&A feature.
Without objection, looking to Jeremy as well, no objection, we'll close audience to visitor. Next item is the consent agenda, and there are 4 items. Are any of those, does somebody want to pull any of those 4? Okay. Looking for a motion.
Thank you, President Fury. I move the Board of Education approve consent agenda items for A, financial report, for B, enrollment report, for C, food service report, and for D, human resources report.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos to accept the consent agenda. I assume no discussion since nobody wanted to pull anything. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention. Motion carries 9-0-0. The next item is approval of minutes. Are there any minutes that need to be pulled? Seeing none, is there a motion, Mr. Lockhart?
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education approve the minutes from the October 17, 2023, 7 p.m. regular meeting, the November 13, 2023, 6:15 organizational/special meeting, and the November 13, 2023, 7 p.m. special meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Lockhart, seconded by Mr. Panos. Any discussion? Again, assuming nobody wanted anything pulled. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions?
Mr. Halleck did say aye for both motions. We're just not able to hear him.
Yeah, I saw the mouth, but I couldn't hear him.
Just for the listen.
Yeah,
There
thank
it
you.
is.
There he is.
Motion carries 900. Next item is our student representative report.
First item I wanted to start off, a few weeks ago, we had our Veterans Day Assembly, which I think was a great chance on our veterans. It included a panel. Students could ask questions. There's also student performances and readings. Overall, I think it was well received. This was what I heard from the student body and also my own experience. And I think it was a great way to honor and impact and serve our community. I'd like to congratulate Drama on their play that they had, very successful. Good show for all those who saw it. Next, I'd like to, again, another congratulations to football. Great divisional win against Bloomfield. Again, congratulations and good luck in your CCC championship. Another one of the services offered to students was the Future Student Night. Future and prospective students of Windsor High School got the chance to gather information, meet teachers, students, and learn a lot more about education at Windsor High School. They also learned about clubs, sports teams, and other activities outside of academics. So overall, a great way to get introduced into some of the things we have going on at our high school. One of the concerns I'd like to voice from students has been the ongoing discussion about the possibility of AP tests and having to pay for them next year. From what I was told and communicated with administrators, is that it's still ongoing discussion, but we will, I just wanted to voice that concern from students. So that's about it, but lastly, I just wanted to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving and safe holidays.
Thank you very much. Any questions for our student representative?
Can you clarify that concern you had about the AP tests?
Yeah.
A little bit more?
So I've received a lot of information. I believe it was a public, from the last meeting that happened, there was a discussion about starting in the 2024 to 2025 school year, there'll be a AP exam fee for families, something that hasn't been in the past few years. And a lot of students had voiced to me that they just didn't understand what was going on, or they were concerned about it going into next year, especially preparing for next year. A lot of hard choices to make. That was the gist of that concern.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Well, thank you. I know I can't say that you may have to go home to do homework tonight, but you may have other preparations that you have to attend to, so feel free to stay here, and if you need to leave, feel fine in leaving. Thank you.
Have a good night. Enjoy the holiday.
Somebody's got to
He's
work
outta here.
on that bird.
Gotta get going on a trip.
Next item is my president report. Okay, as to the president's report, I'm glad the student representative already covered some things that I would have covered, though Mr. Lockhart may want to comment on the play from Windsor High School. I don't know, I think he sat in on every every night. So, welcome to our new board members, Mr. Madison, Mr. King, welcome. And welcome to those who are willing to come back again. I don't understand why you do it. I'm insane, but at least I don't know about the others. I guess not. Misery loves company. 7 of the board members and Dr. Hill attended the CABE CAPS conference this last week, a convention. Thanks to Dr. Mallory and his team of social emotional learning specialists who presented at one of the workshops. And I heard several comments from people about, how do we get this in our school? How can you help us set this up? So that's always good to hear that type of feedback. Mr. Lockhart was seen all over the venue, helping out, moderating, making sure things were where they needed to be. Ms. Taylor participated in the Nutmeg board meeting, which is a mock board meeting that shows you all the things you shouldn't do in a board. I've often been in a workshop next door and just hear howling and laughter. Finally, I did attend one of those, so it is quite something. And
See a lot of training?
Oh, yeah, she's watched you.
That's right.
You see the insults that I should.
The most exciting part was that Mr. Lockhart, Leonard Lockhart, was elected to be the next president of CABE. Quite an honor. He gave a very rousing speech about moving education forward, that we can't be sitting back, we can't accept the status quo, and that we have to represent as CABE, as board members, even in Windsor, education of all students in Connecticut. Saturday morning, he got a surprise where the gospel choir, the Windsor Gospel Choir, because it wasn't on the original program, performed. And as people say, the award-winning Windsor Gospel Choir. And they were great under the direction of Dr. Tracy White. The Windsor Board, we've received another Level 2 Leadership Award. And so we had our picture taken with the Commissioner of Education and did our usual selfie as well, because we got the formal one and the informal one. And the district received 2 Bonnie B. Carney Awards for education communication. One was for the coffee talks that Dr. Hill had, and the other was the chat and chill that is done with him on various topics. It's a podcast format. So we were well represented. And then we had some other surprises. We had Miriam Khan, our state representative and former board member, attend a dinner on Friday night, leading to Leonard's presidency. The mayor of Windsor, the new mayor of Windsor, and several other folks from central office, which was very nice and touching, because we all support each other here. So it was great. And that's where I am going to stop, other than to say I did attend the Veterans Day Assembly at Windsor High School. One of the panelists was Dr. Terrell Hill, superintendent, and he talked about his experience in the military. And it was interesting because there was a group of panelists, there were several panelists, and each had similar themes, but also gave their own unique why of why they enlisted, why they were there, and the experiences that they had. So I'm going to end it there. If there's any questions about me or any comments, feel free. Mr. Lockhart.
Mr. President, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Windsor. Wherever I go, whether it's in the state or the nation in SBA, Windsor's on my chest, on my heart, the energy, the drive, the collaboration, the infighting, all the energy that we exude at this day is exuded on the state and national level. I was quite surprised about a lot of the support, a lot of things. I'm part of the planning committee, and I didn't know about a lot of things. So Cade did a good job, Dr. Hill, the board, Sally. I lost it in the hallway when I saw Sally. But overall, I just want to say thank you. I'm not an easy person to get along with. I'm kind of rigid. I'm kind of old school and trying to figure this out. But at the end of the day, I am who I am. And what I give you is 100%. And my promise to you is to continue to be a cheerleader for high-quality public education, not only in the town of Windsor, but the state of Connecticut and the country. And that's for all 50 states and territories. I could care less about the status of the child or your family. At the end of the day, that is the mission, that is our why, and that is, I will continue to enjoy the conversations, the arguments, the disagreements, because at the end of the day, it should be about the children. And finally, yes, I did enjoy the drama productions. I was voluntold to be there. My youngest daughter was part of the productions, and I'm sure there's going to be some lobbying from that group during budget time. So, but at the end of the day, I just want to say thank you. I can't do this work alone. I have not done this work alone. I couldn't do it alone, and it's all for Windsor. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Taylor.
I just want to congratulate Leonard Lockhart again. It was an awesome time, but I feel like we were congratulating Leonard, but it was almost like a Windsor thing too. I feel like we just took over all of Cabe, and that's fantastic because I don't mind taking over things. But I just think it just speaks to not just the dedication of our board, our superintendent, the cabinet, all of the, oh my gosh, Robin and oh my God, everybody was there. And then as President Fury said, just to have just the VIPs come down and find it not robbery to spend a Friday night to surprise him. But I just have to lift up the Windsor High School Choir. Let me explain something to y'all, and I'm not just saying because my baby's in the choir. These kids had to be at the high school for 6:55 on a Saturday morning. And I think it was 90% of them, of this choir, came. They had to be there to drive on a bus over an hour on a Saturday morning, and they did it with smiles, and were like just so proud to be there and do what they do. And they shook up the entire space. If you were there, you felt the energy. People were crying listening to these kids. And I just want to lift that because, you know, these kids, these students, they don't find it a chore to do extra. We just heard that, about 6 of them. But about 55 of them came down, including toting, you know, instruments and all that, just to surprise Mr. Lockhart. And I just think that that's a huge testimony to the district, Dr. White, and parents who had to get them there. So thank you all, and it was just a wonderful time. Again, congratulations to Leonard, and again, we're constantly putting Windsor on the map. Dr. Mallory's session on SEL was wonderful. Usually in sessions like that, people, you know, kind of get up and leave a little early. No one moved. So kudos to everyone. It was great.
Mr. President, if I may.
Mr. Lockhart.
I missed a lot of photo ops because Windsor was fielding so many requests for our talent to come perform or teach at other districts in the state. The NSBA is seeking our talent to come to the national conference in New Orleans in 2024. They want our choir to come and to perform in 2024. So I was just being tugged in so many directions the entire time at K, because Windsor was definitely all over the place in a very strategic way where our district, no matter what people may say, is a high-functioning district where we are actually got kids that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And this weekend, Windsor did an awesome job telling our story. And that's what it was all about. So I'm humbled. It's not about me. It's never been about me. I shy away from this type of stuff. I just like to be behind the scenes and work. That's all I like to do. But to see everybody participate, and to be fawned over and really sought after, especially that choir. That choir was it was phenomenal. They sang for about 13 minutes, and they woke up the entire county with their energy. It was that amazing. They were on a stage that I'm not understanding the physics of how that stage held up, but they brought such an energy to the room that it was just, you know, it'll be something that I will never, ever forget. But you know what? We take it for granted because we see it. It's here in our space. But when other people get to see it, they're like, well, how are you pulling that off? How are you doing that? So we're going to continue to tell our story from this dais. We're going to continue to support the superintendent. We're going to continue to have the collaborative conversations to make sure that we're leading in this arena, to make sure that we highlight and continue to tell our why instead of having other people tell us our narrative. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Wollaston?
Yeah, I'll just say, it's hard to go after that speech, but I'll just say one thing that was very evident at the conference this past weekend was how vibrant our community is, all the way down from the president of CABE down to just the SEL presentation we had there, and then we had a display of our arts that we have in Windsor as well. It is very evident how vibrant our community is. It was amazing feeling to be able to share that with the rest of the neighboring boards of education, just to show what is possible when you truly do invest in your students.
And again, I want to thank the fact that we had 7 of us. A couple could not be here to
You were missed.
To be there, but usually if board members are around, they participate in this, and it's important because we get to actually socially get out together. We can't talk Windsor board politics, business, so since we can't, we get to know each other a little bit better as well, and talk about the different things that we've seen, workshops we've gone to. Ms. Cantor?
I just wanted to congratulate you, Mr. Lockhart. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I know how much work it is to get everything all coordinated and do it. And the kids really reap the rewards of the offerings of this town. And if they apply themselves and work hard at it, and their parents participate in it, they can go far places. Thank you.
Anyone? Mr. King?
Yeah, just as a new board member, it was really, really inspiring to go to CABE and see all of the just great things that our community was putting out. I was super, super impressed, and I had known about it before, but really getting the download in the SEL session and seeing how many people were there and participating in it. And I think, it's one thing when you're on the outside because there's ratings and numbers and logistics that kind of tell a story, but then when you actually see the programs and places that we've brought together and brought to bear, it tells us such a stronger story about our district, and it really inspired me to see everything. The other thing I would say, and again, congratulations to Leonard, I don't know if that speech he gave exists on YouTube somewhere, but honestly, it was one of the most amazing speeches I've heard in a really long time. I was incredibly moved by it, and if anybody gets a chance to look at it, they should definitely review it. So just congratulations again, Leonard.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd just like to
Mr.
say,
Panos?
Thank you. I'd like to say congratulations, and you certainly are representing us very, very well there. It's a bundle of energy. You knew everybody. So we look forward to great things. That's it.
I appreciate that, Mr. Panos.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Next item is 7B, discussion about a 10-year plan to address our aged buildings where we house our students and staff. There's anticipated action. Is there a motion, Mr. Lockhart, or do you want to just go right into a discussion?
I would like to just go into a discussion, okay. And then it's my hope that through unanimous consent, the board will support you to refer to committee.
Okay, thank you.
So to the board, to the superintendent, as well as the citizens and taxpayers of the town of Windsor, we're about to embark on 400 years as a town. And what we are looking to do, what I'm looking to do as a vision, as a member of this board, is to address the infrastructure and our physical plant that we house our staff and students. It's a very aged infrastructure, and we're in an age now where we're putting a lot of expensive Band-Aids on buildings that frankly are quite aged. Before you, I put a little spreadsheet in front of you of all the buildings that we have in town. And what it will list is the year that it was built, the square footage, any major renovations, roof replacements. It will state any HVAC upgrades, any other miscellaneous upgrades, any LED lighting upgrades, if it's been converted to gas or not, and any solar installations. So JFK, just to start it off, was built in 1965. Pequannock in 1947. Oliver Ellsworth in 1971. That is our newest building that as far as the fleet, that hasn't been upgraded or anything other than HVAC. Clover Street, 1957. Sage Park, 1968, but there's been several renovations. Windsor High School, 1951, but there's an addition in 1974 and another addition in 2000. And the field house was built in 1968, and it's the same field house that's been standing since 1968. So if you look at the infrastructure that is provided to us by the town, it's quite aged. And every time we go through CIP, we're putting Band-Aids on things. And, a lot of these buildings probably have abatement issues, with asbestos. To have to upgrade it, you have to bring it up to current code. I'm going to just focus my attention on Oliver Ellsworth, since that's been the hot topic. The PBC is looking at all of our buildings, quite frankly, about some conditions, some issues here or there. But OE, we just recently put a chiller in that building, an oversized chiller, and now they are addressing the situation about the air quality and looking to put a dedicated outside air system in that building to help balance the negative pressure. But for a building that was built in 1971, for example, and the envelope alone is very, very aged. That was discussed at the last PBC meeting, to address the walls, to address the eaves, the roof, the doors and the windows, to create a solid envelope. That's going to be quite expensive. I'm not going to say the number, but it's going to be quite expensive. In order for them to add an air handling system in there and to have it up and going by next year, that's going to be in the range of millions of dollars after it's all been negotiated, and that's inclusive of labor, parts, professional services, the construction managers, stuff of that nature. These are very, very expensive Band-Aids. We also need to understand the fact that our buildings, if any one of our elementary schools went down right now, we have no place to put them. So we have to start thinking outside the box. We have to really start, as a collective Board of Education, come together and decide what type of environment do we want to provide for our students, and to make sure that we're working closely through our superintendent and facilities, and making sure that our vision is being articulated very clearly to the Public Building Commission, so that they can articulate it very clearly to the town council, and to make sure we support an action of putting referendums out of whatever we have to do. If I had it my way, and I'm only speaking for one board member, I'm not speaking for the dais, I would love to raise all 4 of those elementary schools and build new. I would love to find swing space to make sure that we can conduct this type of work. All these buildings are aged, and the more money we keep pouring onto it, it's just going to be worse and worse and worse, in my opinion. So, Mr. President, I'm of the belief that as a board, we need to start having conversations about this now. Mr. Panos did attend the last PBC meeting with me as well. I would hope that he would speak after I do, to have a brief discussion about this. But I truly believe this is something that should be referred to long-range planning, so that we can really get into the substantive discussion about the condition of each one of our buildings, work with the superintendent to have facilities there to really explain to us in layman terms what are the conditions of our buildings and what are we going to do to convince the town that they need to be fixed. I'm understanding there's a revow. I'm understanding there's a lot of financial pressures upon us right now, but we cannot continue to send our staff and our kids into these aged buildings that got well-documented issues just for the sake of saving a dollar, or we don't want to spend the money. I'm only speaking for myself. I am going to advocate and push for this very, very hard, even if I must do so alone, because at the end of the day, our children and staff deserve better. When they think of Windsor, people think of Windsor with the ability to pay. I believe we're probably sitting on about $40 million in the general fund. I believe we have the ability to pay, but I understand the financial pressures of a reevaluation. We need to think big. We need to be bold. We need to operate in faith. If this is something that's going to be a legacy, transformative board that I would like to see this board be, we need to have the political courage to put this out in front of people and say, look, this may not be here for my children, but we have a right and a responsibility to make sure that all children after us and all staff after us are working in a safe environment, that they're breathing fresh air, that there is a comfortable environment. It's a very safe environment. It's a more welcoming environment. When they walk into Windsor Public Schools, they should be thinking this is a school. This is a very engaging environment and a conducive area for learning. And right now, our parents are telling us that they are not feeling comfortable with our buildings. I am not feeling comfortable with the price tag to put a Band-Aid on a building. So we need to start taking a look at the discussions. Okay, if we're going to continue to do Band-Aids, that should be the will of the town. So when stuff goes wrong, as a board, we can say we did our due diligence and we put it before the people. So I would love to see this go before long-range planning. I foresee this being referred back from long-range planning to either to you to go through here, to go to PBC. I can also see if we start a construction project, that we start having a construction committee that is a standing committee of the whole, where we're managing this and we're all 9 of us are at the table involved with the process every step of the way. But we got to start engaging the public now with the conversation. And I understand people are going to be upset about re-eval, but I think parents are upset now about the condition of our buildings and the perception that we've done nothing about it. And notice I used the word perception. We've been working hard behind the scenes to address it. The way they want to address it now, it's going to be very expensive now. So it's either an ounce of prevention or do you want the pound of cure? I would rather go with the ounce of prevention and start fresh and move forth.
Thank you. Mr. Panos?
Yes, thank you. I also attended the PPC meeting regarding the OE situation, what they want to do. One is they're gonna come forward with another proposal for, we should say, the insulation and the ceiling to keep out the leaks, plug up the leaks, and that is going to be probably, well, should put a number. It's going to be over $2 million. That's a bit for that.
Well, I think it's going to be more than that, but you're being conservative.
So, and the air handlers, the external, are going to be close to $3 million. And so, you know, it's a daunting task. But of course, all buildings, you need regular maintenance, and they need to be done correctly. You know, we had one presenter there about the envelope mentioned that the insulation that was originally put on OE was not done well. Now, don't know exactly what that meant. If it had been done well, does it mean that we would not have any leaks? This is going to take some study. I reviewed the presentation, the proposal on the new air handler and the reasons that they gave, and I still have questions about it. It would be good to not be able, if we're going to put a Band-Aid on, we don't need to put a very high-priced Band-Aid if we're thinking about changing the buildings, you know, just buying a new building. That is not going to be cheap, and whatever it was in the past now, I recall that, you know, when we did Windsor High, that came in at about $30 million, of which we received a substantial amount of money from the state. It was an as-new, and that was a very clever move. That was from 51. It was done in, you know, begun around, you know, 2000 or so, right? And there were classrooms in the gymnasium, and so you know, but it's a pretty good school. You know, it's a pretty solid school. So you can get sometimes you can get a good deal with as new, rebuilt as new, and get all the things you want. And that was a significant deal saver, because if you look at what, I don't know, we had Danielle here, the Farmington High School that they put in there, what is that, 150 million? It's a new high school. That's what it goes, that's what a high school goes for about, these, it's not easy. And so you're looking at, for each of the, it's not going to be that much for the elementaries, but you can get an idea where they are. So I agree fully that we need a good long-term plan, even if it takes 20 years to get them all done. It'd be a good idea to get, what can be salvaged and made as good as new or better. Some things, like California style schools, are not really made for New England. Yeah, maybe people have fond memories of these things, but, some of these things never really quite worked out well. So I'm all for this, an examination of this, and we look forward to, I hope we can go ahead with this, and do the study and follow it along. Thank you.
Mr. Halleck?
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I agree that this item should be referred to a long range. I think all options honestly should be on the table. We definitely should be looking at the possibility of renovating, as well as looking to see what it would be, what the numbers are for building new. However, if we are going to build new, we need to think about the land for that as well, and how we would be obtaining that. And if there would be added costs there as well. I think we should also, yes, this is going to go to long range planning, and obviously that's where it should start, but we should also keep the town council, I believe, in the loop as well, because they're going to be fitting the bill as well. But I agree with Mr. Lockhart as well that we have to look at our emergency plans, because if we do have to close down a school for emergency reasons, we have to have a plan there as well. So I think that's very, very important. So I am definitely in favor of this going to long range planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and then Mr. Wolf. Mr. Halleck, to your point, as in the discussion of the packet, all work products would be presented to the board for any approval of actions and potentially shared by the president and or of the joint BOE Town Council with the mayor and or town council members of the joint BOE Town Committee as well. But further, I think the additional task is that we advocate through our president, that we advocate our position at every single public building commission meeting, and make sure that as a board, we are committed to make sure that we make every single meeting. It doesn't have to be the same person, but at least someone from this board should be at that meeting, at every meeting, because the stuff you learn in these meetings is not what you hear at the town council meeting. You get executive level at the town council meeting, but when you're in the actual meeting and you're seeing deliverables, Mr. Panos, you can speak if I'm telling the truth or I'm lying. But what we have learned going to these meetings is far more the information that we would ever get at any dais. So I want us to be very committed and diligent to making sure that we trust and verify, and we understand the process, and we're committed to making sure that we stay educated on the process.
Thank you. Mr. Wollaston.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like us to start off by thanking the superintendent and his staff and the board for coming together and seeing this as a priority. I know towards the end of the previous term, this was something, along with marketing and creating a more welcoming environment, not just with the people, but with the building itself, that I was hoping to bring to long-range planning as well. And in spite of the belief of some, there was an attempt to hold this meeting, but because of extenuating circumstances, and then the summer, and then vacation, and coming back, and the mold situation, the long-range planning meeting wasn't able to happen before the term was over. But I'm really grateful for this board still deeming it important to come together and not forget this, and come together and lift this up right now. A few things that Mr. Lockhart said that really spoke to me. He said words that stuck out to me. He said we have to be big, we have to be bold, we have to operate in faith. And I'd just like to lift two more words that I'd like to see come from this discussion, and those would be creative and intentional. I believe we are being very intentional in this aspect, and I would like to see us continue to use all of our systems here in the town, because we are creating a very powerful system. And one thing that I really would like to lift as well is the resurrection of the joint BOE and council meetings, as this will help us better do this work. And I know last time around, when OE was first brought to our attention, the ball was kind of dropped, but something like this committee is something that will definitely help us continue to do this work intentionally. On top of that, I'm looking forward to lobbying to and working with our state legislators as well, to let them know that we are in need of grant funding to help do this work. And I'm sure superintendent staff will be reaching out to them, but you can rest assured I will be bugging some legislators as well myself. So, and one thing I'm in belief of is that people, when they see their money being spent, they want to see their money being spent on something. And we know that with reval coming, taxes are going to be raised. If we can find some sort of way, whether it be through grant funding to supplement costs for doing some work, or just give the people something to see when their money goes up, it would be a little bit easier to understand, hey, my taxes are going up because we see something here. So I think we have a very important part in the work of passing this budget, and based upon what we do in this process, and it will greatly help our ability to convince the people to vote for the upcoming budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. King.
Just got to turn there. So I just want to endorse highly Leonard's vision here. I think it's really super important. I was looking at this list in every school. I was not on this earth when any of them were built. And most of the major renovations also predate me as well. And I think that that's horrible, right? Like I was so psyched at CABE, all the great things we were doing, all the great things this district is doing, and our buildings and our footprint should reflect that, and they should reflect the amazing community we have and the importance we're placing on our students, as they are the future of our town. So I'm 100% behind Leonard and dedicated to getting this done. I think we absolutely should be building new schools. We built a lot of other new infrastructure in this town. We've built new police stations. We've built new EMS services. I think we can afford to build new schools for our kids. I think we maybe even should be prioritizing those things. So I just want to say that I'm really looking forward to it as the chair of the Long Range Planning Committee, to get this on and to hopefully come back with a solid plan that over the next 10 or so years we can really start doing this.
Anyone else? Ms. Cantor.
Thank you. I think you already know how I feel, because I'm the person who spoke about this problem in November 2022, and I also brought it up in August 2023. So you know how I feel. I don't like people getting sick, being permanently disabled, or die from it, because some kids or people will have asthma attacks. But I do think it needs to go to long-term planning. But I also think there needs to be metrics in there, because when you build a school or do repairs, you have to hold the people accountable for their actions or lack of actions. And obviously, the ventilation was never done right, because this has been an ongoing problem at Oliver Ellsworth for 10 years. So whoever you hire has to be the right person, and it has to have metrics. You have to hold the fire to the feet. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Panos?
This is mentioned, it was, about 15 years ago that we said, let's shut down Walcott. And then that turned into a big mistake, you know, so when sometimes you make what seems to be a logical, plan, you think you planned it out, but you missed something. You know, we were not supposed to have, half the students that we have now. And, that would have been a tremendous swing. It would have taken up a lot of the needs right now. The Pequannock and Ellsworth are busting, and so, like I say, we need careful planning and thinking about this before we jump too fast. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm very supportive of this idea. I think we need to plan out and look at all the different variables of new buildings, renovate them, figuring out swing space and the timeline. And this is a good year to plan. It may not be a good year to start spending money, but we need to start at some point. And I am a little concerned. We need to make sure that Ellsworth is in better shape come this summer. We owe it to the students, we owe it to the parents, we owe it to the staff that are in there. And it's kind of scary that we have an expensive Band-Aid being looked at without some more modest proposals. And I don't know whether the timeline, we know how difficult it is to order things these days for parts and structures, and we need to find out when there's, from the town, when they believe, and maybe Mr. Lockhart and Mr. Panos know from the PBC, when they have a kind of drop dead time for this project.
Mr. Panos, do you want to speak to that? You were there as well. Or do you want to speak to it?
They're pushing us for that. They actually gave us a proposal for it. I don't know what the drop dead date is, but they did say that you need a lot of lead time for this sort of thing, and they wanted to get the engineering going. And so we don't have much time. Let's put out to review this, and I hope to do some of that here pretty soon. But go ahead, why don't you?
So yeah, the town manager, I believe, was working with the PBC to make sure it gets in front of the town council in the month of December. The unit itself takes about 30 weeks, but they were confident with the unit that they were custom making for that building, custom made. The lead time could be 18 to 20 weeks. And then they have to look at the professional services as well as a construction manager. So they feel that they can get this solution done by the opening of the next academic school year, but we have to act on it now, and it takes some action from the town council.
Yeah.
But it's a very it's almost, once we're done, it could be easily well over $3 million to address it, and that's just the air. That's not the envelope, and which is the walls, the leaky walls, with the roof, the doors, the age windows. The envelope itself adds to the efficiency of the building. And if you don't fix that, you might have a comfortable building, but you're still going to have some persistent issues, but not to the magnitude that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah, you also have the negativity issue involving the cafeteria and the gym.
Correct.
So that's another project.
Correct.
So
this could go up to $10 million rather easily if we're not careful.
Anybody else last comment? I'm going to ask for unanimous consent for my referring this to long-range planning, which it seems like should be an easy vote, yes. Any objection to sending it to long-range planning? Without objection, this is now, Anthony, this is in your committee's corner. Next, the superintendent's report. Dr. Hill.
Thank you. I'm sitting here thinking I got to change something, because I am never a Flavor Flav. But Lord, I feel like that here tonight. So anyway, I'm going to repeat some stuff because it's my staff that I want to give credit to and kudos to, and I want to congratulate folks myself. So first, I'd like to congratulate Mr. James Madison. You no longer have to attend board meetings at the audience and visitors table. You are now over there. Congratulations. I know how committed you've been to getting on the board and being a part of this process. I don't know if you know what you're getting into, but you're here now. And congratulations. Mr. Anthony King, we just met, but thank you for coming on the board, and I look forward to working with you. And I felt kind of old when you just said that you weren't born when any of these buildings existed or the upgrades. I was like, well, good Lord, you know, come on, man. Like, so I was born with a few of these buildings, but okay. So it is what it is, right? And I want to also, talking about CABE, I will just give my personal thoughts on it. First, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Leonard Lockhart on being selected as the new president at CABE. I know that takes a lot of work. That's not something that's easily given to anyone. And he is representing not just Windsor, but he's representing the entire state of Connecticut. Also, I'm aware of his reputation nationally with the NSBA organization, National School Boards Association. So I'm always glad to have people on the team who are out spreading the word about the district and representing us in different spaces. So I just wanted to personally congratulate you. I did leave my offering on Saturday after he got done preaching. It was really a great message. I was inspired. It's like, amen. Almost, you know, it was pastor's anniversary Sunday, so I had to go to church. But if not, I would have had a good excuse not to go. I had already done church. People were really excited. I'm joking with them, but they were really excited to hear what he had to say. And, you know, and it's good when a leader has a vision that's just not the plain old, we're just going to keep rolling along. I watched a lot of folks, you know, that got elected across the country in different spaces, and a lot of it was, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. And I'm glad I don't live there. That's just who I am. So I also want to congratulate Dr. Michael Mallory and Mr. Damian Morgan. Dr. Mallory is our district SEL coordinator, and Mr. Morgan is the SEL specialist at Clover. And these two gentlemen did an outstanding job with their SEL presentation during their session at CABE. As I believe Vice President Taylor said, no one left, right? People go into sessions just so they can, you know, tell their boss I showed up, right? We know how conferences work, and they leave, but no one left, and they kept folks engaged. And more importantly, when it was over, people didn't rush out of the room. I'm still fielding emails. I know they're trying to, you know, get me to go along with stuff, sending me gifts and everything. I'm like, sorry, that doesn't work. But I will say this so people can hear it publicly. I wanted Windsor to be out front with SEL work. I've said that for a few years. They are definitely out front. They are definitely respected, the work that we're doing across the state and across the country. And that's not just a speech, that's real. And now even more districts who weren't actually doing the work or they didn't know what, so they were standing back watching. They have said openly, you know, we love this, you know, what you guys are doing, and how can we get your folks, you know, to come help us? We are not a free organization. You just heard everyone talk about money that's needed. So I'm a business major. I believe in making funds off your skills. So I did tell districts, you can call them, but you will be paying for their services. So there are no jokes there. All right. And then finally, the Teams of Praise. Much like Vice President Taylor, too, I think I'm going to copy Mr. Lockhart's words when he says, I'll take a personal point of privilege. Isn't that what you said for like the last how many years? So this is the last year for my baby. So I'm going to try to enjoy every single event even more because once it's done, it's the last time that it's going to be done. So I'm always proud of Dr. White. I always take pride in saying I'm the one who hired her and brought her to Windsor. So no one else can say that. And she has done nothing but impress year over year over year. My two older daughters have gone through that choir, and my youngest is in that choir, and our choir is incredible. I will say something that no one else said. I enjoy all students when they perform. I know it's tough to get up in front of people, but I did tell people on Friday, when my kids come, I knew they were coming. Anybody gonna have to tell people to be quiet, trust me. They're going to get their attention. So I sat at a table with people I didn't know, and I told them, I said, our kids, they don't need you to be quiet. They're going to take the room. And that's what they did. And people kept talking about them even after they were gone. And they can come sing. They're not free either. okay? So, and what's interesting, I had just told Dr. White about 2 days before that I said, you got to stop singing for free. And I'm serious, because people pay for what they want to see and hear. That's real. And just because you're in a public school, we got to move 50-something, 68 kids. Buses aren't free. We're happy they're on time when they're on time, but they're not free. So my kids ain't gonna keep singing, and everybody's, praise the Lord, we love you, but you gonna write a check, Pastor, or somebody. And I just told her that 2 days before. So Saturday when folks started talking, I looked at her and I said, what did I tell you? She said, get the check. There you go. It's all business. And we'll sing after we get the check. My next coffee talk will be Tuesday, December 19th at 10 a.m. in the LP Wilson boardroom, right here. All schools and district offices will be closed as of tomorrow, November 22nd through Friday, November 24th. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our families, staff, and community members. At this time, I will have Dr. Haiti give you an update on our new kindergarten process, and then she will also cover the areas that were to be covered by Ms. Batchelder. She had a family emergency that she is handling tonight, so keep her family in your prayers. That's all I'll say about that, and Dr. Haiti will be handling things.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hill. So as you all may already know, the Connecticut legislature has recently changed the entrance date for kindergarten from turning 5 on or before January 1st to turning 5 on or before September 1st. This change does go into effect starting the 24-25 school year, so this upcoming school year. A child who does not meet the cutoff may still be admitted into kindergarten pursuant to Public Act 23-208 upon two things. One, a written request from the parent, and two, an assessment completed by the school that determines that admitting the child to kindergarten would be appropriate. Because we do understand that circumstances are different, and it's really hard to measure a child's readiness for kindergarten. We have put in a process in place that is in line with what other districts around us are doing. So the process will look like this. On December 1st, we're going to open up our waiver acceptance. The waiver will be posted on our website, so parents can simply go to our website under instructional services and complete the waiver. We made it as easy as possible for our families. We have also translated our entire plan into our top 5 languages, so it's accessible for all our parents. So starting December 1st, parents will be able to complete that waiver. Again, only parents who have kids who will not meet the new requirement need to complete the waiver. So if your child turns 5 on or before September 1st, you do not need to complete a waiver. Once a waiver has been completed by a family, the school that student would be assigned to based on their address will be contacting the family, and they will be given a date for the child to come in for an assessment. The school will be given an assessment. It's a screener. Usually every single kindergartner that comes into our district, they do take a screener in the summer. What we're doing differently for our waiver students is that we're giving them the screener early so that we can make a recommendation for the family if students are ready or not. And then they have enough time and a list of skills they can work on from the time they submit the waiver until it's time to start school in August. On March 1st, all our kindergarten registration starts. So students who have submitted a waiver and students who are just ready for kindergarten, parents have to go through the entire process of registration online, just like they would do every other year. So that is the update on the kindergarten mandate, the new mandate, and how we're handling it in Windsor.
Okay, open up to questions. Ms. Taylor, then Mr. Panos.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, Dr. Hill. Dr. Haiti, a question that has come up to me, so I figure I'd ask it in this forum. What about students who, and I don't know if it would be Ms. Cristofaro who could help us with this too. What about students who have come through birth to 3 or have an IEP?
So students who are coming through birth to 3 or have an IEP, are already in our preschool program. So parents have the option to keep them in the preschool for an additional year or submit a waiver, and they would go through the same process to go into kindergarten.
So my question, follow-up to that is, if you had a developmental delay, you would not pass the assessment.
Right, so again, we're going to give recommendation for the family, but they will move on to kindergarten, and we will just have data to help us support that child once they start school in September or August.
Thank you.
Mr. Panos.
Thank you. Are there any staff additions required or materials extra than you already have that you anticipate for the number of students that are between September 1st and December 31st, as it is right now? I mean, and I guess a further question is, if we do this and it's almost costless, could we have done it, you know, for people with the old system? Well, that's forget that question, but you see my question is.
Let's stick to that first question. So we, because we only know what we know. So we don't know the kids who are out there in the community who are not part of our preschool program. So kids who are in our preschool program, we have a very small number of kids who will fall between that September 1st to January 1st. So we're not anticipating any additional. It's just for us, based on the data that we currently have, it's just going to be just like any other year. However, depending on the number of students that we get from outside that are not part of our system, that will determine if we need additional kindergarten staffing or not. We are not anticipating anything different. We looked at our last 3 years of cohort history, and our numbers for that age range is not significant that it will cause us to add anything extra. So, but again, that is something that this is why we're opening up the waiver early, December 1st, so that we kind of have a better idea of how many kids are gonna come through that we are not ready for.
So is the assessment any different than you do right now for students that come into kindergarten? You do an assessment of sort at the beginning, right? You do an assessment right now at the beginning of kindergarten, right? When they first come in.
In the summer. So once students have been registered, over the summers, they get called from their school and they come in and do an assessment. It's a screener. We use dibbles. So it's the same assessment. We're just gonna do it early so that we have data to provide families.
Okay, so it's largely the same work, as I was just saying. Thank you.
We will also, I should note that, we will also give the screener again at the beginning of school year, because for that age, from taking the screener in December or January, and then taking it again in July, kids do grow tremendously over a few months. So those students who will take the screener early on as a waiver, they will take it again right before school starts so that we can provide teachers with accurate data on where students are.
Oh, okay, I had the idea that you did it right now just in the summer, and that you at the end of the summer. Right now, how do we do it now? So at what time do you give the assessment test? July. And
By August.
And now you're going to do it earlier than that.
Not for all kids, just for students.
Just for those who require who are asked for the waiver. Okay. And so you'll have to give it twice. All right.
Well, if you do it once and they seem ready, then they wouldn't have to do one in the summer.
Yes, absolutely.
So they could fail, though, the first one, if that's the word, not meet the exception for a waiver, and then by the summer, that could still be the case. But you at least given them, the family, some things to work on to hopefully get them, to that place. Okay, thank you. Mr. Halleck.
Thank you, Mr. President. results.
The
Or not their student is going to be admitted into kindergarten.
Okay, once they take the assessment for the waiver. It will be about maybe 2 to 4 weeks, depending on so all of we're talking about, a number that we don't know, because we don't know how many kids are going to fall into that, window, and we don't know how many parents will actually, December 1st, decide to fill in a waiver. So if we end up with 100 kids, then the turnaround time is going to be longer. But if we only have 10 kids, then, I would say between 2 to 4 weeks. We're going to have our instructional coaches in our K-2 building provide that assessment or administer that assessment for students, and then they will come back with the results and meet with the parents.
Okay. Fair enough, Dr. Hady. Also just wanted to say that this was something that was handed down from our state legislature. So it's not something that the Windsor board came up with. We are just following what the state has told us to do. So if you're a parent who might be upset about it, I would encourage you to contact your state legislators, excuse me. Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, I think Mr. Panos and I, when we were looking at resolutions, a resolution was passed to have the legislature relook at this. Some districts wanted this to be phased in 1 month at a time, so it's going from January 1st to December 1st, and the next year, November 1st, October 1st, et cetera. Waterbury in particular have 400 kids who will now fall within that September to December 31st area. Anyone else?
So, excuse me, go ahead.
Nope. Mr. Panos.
So we don't anticipate any increase in cost. We're actually delaying here. Would you anticipate some sort of decrease in cost for us?
No decrease. No, sir, no decrease.
Never a decrease. Okay.
Never
We got that, Mr. Lockhart.
We might stand pat. But as Dr. Hady said, it's a guessing game. So we knew it is a burning point. First, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Halley for actually telling the public, so we don't start getting bombarded. I think sometimes the public thinks boards and superintendents just come up with stuff. We didn't just come up with this. This is what we've been told. That being said, the city school districts, they have a lot more students. So you're talking about 400 kids potentially, like you said in Waterbury. I know they have bigger class sizes than we do, but that's easy, probably like, 10 to 15 teachers, depending on how they do it. So you got to find the money for that, and these are districts that already struggle. So we, right now, with the numbers that we anticipate, that's not a problem for us, not like that. Now, I'm saying that, as Dr. Hady has said, we don't know what parents in Windsor are going to decide to do. Everybody comes for a waiver all of a sudden. We're not anticipating that, but we'll see. But it's not going to go backwards.
Ms. Taylor?
I've said this before in meetings and in other groups that we're actually one of the last states to do this. Most states, it's been this way for years. I'm talking about like 30 years, decades. I was born in 1981. One of my cousins was born in 1981, but because he grew up in Alabama, he was always a year behind me in school because I was born in July, he was born in October. This has been a conversation that's been going on since the state has been really considering it for, I would have to say, probably the last 15 years. And I have to be honest with you, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Does this put people in a pickle? But I'm not seeing how it adds to, us gaining money. It's actually stopping kids from starting kindergarten, so it actually does the opposite. But I'm just saying that, I see, if you have to keep a child in a private preschool for one more year, that causes an issue financially on our family. So I just want to lift that. I get that. So I just feel like there's things that the state can do to assist with that, in my opinion. And so when you are thinking about if you're not going to do the waiver, or the child doesn't, is not the exception to the rule, or doesn't have an IEP, think about ways, I encourage the state, and I'm sure they already are, thinking of ways to just buffer the cost of, preschool is not cheap. And if you didn't get into a lottery like, some people do, and you're thinking about one more year in preschool, that can be very costly. So I just want to lift that for our families, that we are thinking of you. And I encourage you to be the squeaky wheel to get some answers. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Yep.
You want to go ahead?
All right, so I'm going to go through budget assumption for Ms. Batchelder. So Ms. Batchelder presented the introduction to budget planning to all principals and administrators at the beginning of November. Principals and department directors and supervisors are currently building their school or department budgets. All site budgets and budget narratives are due to Ms. Batchelder on December 1st. The month of December is when the budget will be reviewed by the superintendent and his cabinet members and building leadership. Dr. Hill and Ms. Batchelder finalizes the budget within the first week of January, and then the BOE is presented with the superintendent's proposed budget for 24-25 at the January 17th board meeting. I think you have in front of you the budget assumptions for 24-25, so I'm not going to go through and read them. However, Ms. Batchelder wanted me to make sure I do highlight some points. So enrollment, just like we do every year, NASDAQ was involved in some projections. And as of October 1, 2023, we are back up to our 1920 levels of around a little bit over 3,300 students, which is the trend that we had prior to the pandemic. Staffing and programs, it is important to note that we have about 28 positions under ESSER that will end this year. That's about a $1.7 million, including also the summer enrichment program that was under ESSER. So all of these positions, building administration as well as central office administrations, are looking at all the positions and choosing high priority positions that we're going to have to build into our budget. Health insurance claims have increased over the last 2 years by more than $2 million in 21-22 and $1.4 million in 22-23. We do have some very high claims, so we're anticipating needing to add more funds to the insurance fund for 24-25. The state and federal funding grants, ECE or excess cost funding, and the Alliance grant for Windsor is expected to remain stable for 24-25. And over the last 3 years, Title I grants have increased an average of 2.21, and IDEA grants have increased also an average of 3.60 each year. As far as energy is concerned, all schools are now utilizing gas instead of oil for energy, and all buildings have been upgraded to LED. Up until recently, this was a yearly saving for the district. However, inflation rates are at an all-time high. Locking in a rate sooner rather than later is important cost-saving measure within the facility and operations area that must be looked at. For facilities, the need to maintain our buildings is a priority. This year has been a true sentiment of the line item, which has been the goal for the BOE every year. Transportation, Windsor and DATCO entered into a 5-year contract beginning July 1, 2021. Windsor's yard became unionized by the Teamsters in the fall of 2020, which played a major factor in negotiations for the second term of the contract. The percent increase for 24-25 is 4.07%, which equates approximately to $2,200 as an $222.94 as an increase. And the last thing is the diesel cost of fuel. We anticipate a slight increase to both diesel and regular gas. The lock-in price for diesel in 23-24 is $2.95 a gallon. The lock-in price for gas in 2023 is $2.83 a gallon. We are still in discussion with the town to agree on a projected rate to use for our budgetary purposes.
At this point, I'd like to have a motion so that we can then have discussion.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education accept for a first reading the budget assumptions for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. Mr. Panos and Mr. Lockhart. And Ms.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks like we're going to be making some significant increases in the budget requirements here at a time when possibly we'll have, reval issues. But just to join the fray here and be a big spender, I would like to, I suggest that, perhaps we work on some sort of adding something that for possible need to retain staff, if some slight amount, you can discuss what that would be. I don't know what a figure would be now, but we're having trouble retaining certain staff types, so I would be in favor of some sort of increase on the order of, certainly not a percent or anything. Excuse me?
I only heard part two. You said, what did you say about retaining staff? I heard retaining staff.
No, the staff retention problems. We've had problems retaining staff, and there's certain, especially paras. I don't know if you might need extra funds for that. That's so.
You're saying extra funds?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I just thought, Christmas is coming. I would say,
My favorite holiday
Thanksgiving.
is Thursday, then it's all over for me.
It's Thanksgiving.
I thought I heard that, but I wanted to be clear.
Yes, that's why you're hearing.
If you need more money, I was like, I must be mishearing. I'm sorry. Okay.
Tax and spend Republicans.
Tax and spend, I love it. It feels great.
Come on, Cabe. Energy.
We'll discuss
Are you
it.
done? Is it
Yes.
Mr. Lockhart and then Ms. Cantor.
Mr. Panos, I welcome those comments.
I'm sure he does.
The ESSER, all the stuff that the ESSER funds provided, we can't lose any of that. I just want the public to know we can't lose any of that. And we're not going to lose it on the back of cuts of other staff and programs. So I will work closely with Dr. Hill to share that vision. Now, the superintendent is responsible for presenting a budget. We understand that's his role. But once it's presented to us, it then becomes our budget. So if you want me to articulate anything to the superintendent between now and the next meeting, which for the public is Tuesday, December 19th, please give me some lead notice so that I can meet with Dr. Hill maybe once or twice and to articulate the priorities that we would like to see in these assumptions, and we move forth. Again, I will highlight it is a reval, but I'm also going to highlight that we're going to have to stand on something and stand on a lot of things, and one of the things that we cannot lose is the gains we've made with the ESSER funds and the staff and the supports that we have funding with those monies. If we lose any of that, all we're going to do is regress and then expect the superintendent to increase the test scores and to shrink the gaps, but yet still we're underfunding on how we're going to do it and putting more stress and strain on the administration and the teachers. So, Mr. Panos, I'm looking forward to you and Ms. Taylor working with your caucuses and providing me with some guidance on how to have this discussion with Dr. Hill, and that we're going to have great debate during the budget process, and that we're going to sharpen our pencil, but at the same time, I've always told you, Mr. Panos, I don't mind spending, but I hate wasting money. So I'm in a spending mood for the public, just to be very clear. And the kids are worth it. The staff is worth it. And we're going to be putting the investment into our staff and our buildings like we should have been doing on a consistent basis. So it's a promise. That's what I campaign on, and I'm going to stand true to my word. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ms. Cantor and then Mr. Wollaston.
Thank you. I just want to say that I know the cost of everything's gone up tremendously, and in order to maintain staff, you do have to pay them. So I'm thinking that we will have to probably increase to maintain some of our staff. And I know the cost of everything's gone up, and I do like to see a tight budget, and I do believe we did the best we could last year, and I look forward to working on the budget again this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wollaston.
Yes,
Can I clarify one point, really? Because I heard it, kind of said a couple of ways, and I just want to be clear to the public. So the staff salaries are already fixed. They're in a contract. So I don't want my staff hearing like, yeah, Dr. They just said, no. They have a contract.
Yes.
And that's every year when I do the budget, like we start with that, right? Like these are the things that we don't have a choice. We have to meet these obligations. We have to pay people. So they're already going to be paid.
But in order to maintain some of the staff, I know they're leaving, and they've approached me. I know, but I'm just saying that.
No,
So
I just wanted to clarify the big. I mean, that's why I was just like, so leaving. We don't have a retention issue. We keep hearing it, but we just don't.
when you look at the surrounding towns.
But that's your discussion.
When you look at the surrounding towns.
Mr. Wollaston has.
That's, I apologize. That's on me because I started that conversation. That was on me.
It's fine.
Apologize.
I was given the floor. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was just gonna say, is my point of order?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just gonna say, sorry, I just didn't want us to get too off track. Just on point 5, I would be remiss to mention we have some members of Windsor Climate Action here in our presence in the crowd. So as we're looking at budget season and discussing ideas of our physical facilities, I hope that we could be looking forward to, Susan, I love you too. I just hope that we would be looking forward to green options that would also provide some cost savings as far as energy. I see here that we, up until recently, there was a yearly savings for the district in the energy sector. So maybe those are things that we can uplift as well in the budgetary sector, or even when we're having the long-range planning discussions on the physical facilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. We'll go to the next item. Oh, sorry. Get a motion to accept. We now have the discussion. All those in favor of accepting the budget assumptions as a first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, abstention. Motion carries 9-0-0. Next item are two of our old favorites.
All right. Enviromed Services performed what is called a sub-slab concrete moisture assessment at OE. This assessment measures baseline moisture distribution across the entire concrete slab. All measurements were collected in accordance with ASTM standard F2170, utilizing a RH/T-SR sensor to determine relative humidity in concrete floor slabs. Based on the findings, OE does not have excessive moisture from the slab, and it is unlikely that the slab moisture is contributing to the high humidity levels. The HVAC system humidity study was finalized and presented to the PBC last meeting. This study examined the history of the humidity and mold concerns, probable causes, existing conditions of the HVAC, HVAC, and electrical systems and gave recommendations for next steps. The recommendation for the classrooms to alleviate the negative pressure and corresponding high humidity issues is caping the fresh air duct to the unit ventilators and providing new dedicated outside air supply, air handling units located on the roof or on grade. The recommended option for the gymnasium is to provide a new DOAS roof mounted air handling unit with chilled water cooling to satisfy only the gym's outdoor air requirements during normal occupancy. Unit shall be located on the lower roof and connect into AHU-4 return duct.
Air heater unit.
I'm reading what Ms. Batchelder provided.
You guys know it's very detailed. So, and the public is falling asleep already with that. Like, so it's public, people will have it, it'll all be posted, obviously, in our OE mold thing, but this is now, that study is done. You did a good job reading all those engineering words.
Any questions about OE? Okay. Next hot topic. No, sorry. One of the next things I had was
Buses?
buses.
Okay, so
They can sit there.
my assumption is that nothing has changed because I do not have an update on buses.
So what I'll do, because we got the updates from Ms. Batchelder that said she's dealing with the family emergency, so I'll just follow up with her, and if there is something, we'll just send it out to the board. I'll make sure it's sent to the board in between, but I agree, there was nothing that I was made aware of that has changed.
I'm looking for permission from the board to authorize me to talk to Tom Mooney about our current contract situation.
I would like that. Yes,
Any objection to that?
No, I don't think so. I think you should speak to.
Okay, thank you. Next item is Windsor High School Program of Studies.
All right, so as we presented last meeting for our first reading, the program of study, nothing really we haven't changed anything since our first reading, so this is a second reading. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
Yeah.
Mr. Panos first.
I had a question I sent in, just looking at the syllabus, this is largely a literature course supported by, as I would understand this at UConn, this is a literature course supported by a history teacher who kind of gives some background, I guess, to the novels here. But in the syllabus, there's almost nothing about history as such. So I have no problem, accepting this as 2 credits, one for literature and one for English and one for history. It's just that I would have to see what the exact material is on what is history before I would say that it could be used as one of the required, the 3.5 credits that are required for, not just 3.5, the required U.S. history. Does it fulfill that which you have right now? That's the one, because as I understood this, you had a comment in here that it would satisfy the requirement, state requirement for U.S. history. So maybe I'm not understanding this well, but maybe you could clarify it for me, but
Okay. As I stated in the email that we sent the syllabus, this is a sample syllabus. So once the course is approved, UConn actually assigns a professor to work with our teachers who will be teaching the course to develop their own syllabus. This is a sample from another school that's offering exactly what we're trying to offer. But, and in terms of the U.S. history component, we already have a U.S. history curriculum that is approved by the board. We are going to merge our U.S. history curriculum that you've already approved with the ECE UConn curriculum to offer that combo course that students will receive 1 credit for humanities, 1 credit for English, and 1 credit for U.S. history. And Ms. Bonnie Feynman, if you have anything to add.
Actually, the syllabus that you have, so the way that ECE works is that the syllabus that you have is a syllabus from a UConn professor who teaches American Studies, a professor who is one of a number of professors who will pair with our teachers who teach the course and help them to develop a syllabus. So we can't develop a full syllabus with UConn until we commit to doing the class and have our teachers trained. So the syllabus that you requested was a UConn American Studies syllabus for that course. That's the syllabus that we provided. What we would like to do, as Dr. Haiti said, is merge our American history, U.S. history, with American literature and create the course along with UConn. They have to approve the course. That's how it works. The course has to be approved by their American Studies professor who will be assigned essentially to our teachers. So that's the vision for the class.
When you say, excuse me,
Yeah.
I guess I have the floor, so when you say it must be approved by the professor, is that what you're saying? You're saying it must be approved by him, otherwise it doesn't become
Well, the university, in order to give credit for UConn, for ECE, they have to approve the syllabus, yes.
They have to approve.
Just like the College Board has to approve our AP syllabi when we send them in.
Okay.
It's a similar process.
So now, what if there's a disconnect between what the professor wants and, because, I'm looking at these various things, Call of the Wild, various things, like this, and so, mythology of the West, all this, and say these are grand themes in literature, but it's not really content, for history. So he may say, well, it doesn't fit my course. Now,
There
are you going to
are
have?
Yeah, there are other districts that have done it exactly the same way. I think Dr. Haiti had sent an email maybe to Mr. Madison. I think you were the one who requested it. And UConn has not rejected those courses. So their goal is to work with us and have the course meet the expectations that we have for it, which would be a dual class in history and English, and to meet their expectations for an American Studies class.
Okay, so it would have to meet our expectations also for U.S. history.
Correct. It's done together. It has to be.
Okay.
All of our ECE courses are done that way, so it's not just this course. So even chem, even whatever courses we have that are ECE courses, that's the process. So the process is we have our teachers trained, the teachers get paired with professors at UConn, and together they create a syllabus that then gets approved by the university. That's how all the courses work, not just courses in the humanities.
Okay, so when would the board see what the final product is?
Go ahead.
Once we do have a final product, we can share it with the board, but there's no approval because we have a curriculum that's approved. ECE, the board does not approve ECE curriculum. So there's nothing to be approved by the board, but we can definitely share it as soon as we have it.
Right, I certainly trust you, but if you could show.
I will definitely share it when we have it.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion. We still can have discussion, but let's have a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Board of Education approve the proposed changes to the Windsor High School 2024-2025 Program of Studies as a second reading.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. Discussion, any further discussion? Ms. Cantor.
I just want to make sure that U.S. history is taught from beginning to end, that there are no parts left out and watered down, because it's so important that you don't repeat the past. If you leave parts out, kids will not know it. That's my concern.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 900. Committee reports, I know we haven't had a meeting, but we will be having a long-range planning. Anything to say, Mr. King?
No, other than we're going to be having a meeting December 12th, and as we've talked about today, it's going to be mostly centered around our long-range plan for our schools, so it will be a barn burner. So I would hope you all come. But in all seriousness, it's going to be a really good step that we're going to take to try to make sure we can, get our planning and buildings on track.
Mr. Wollaston, do you have any comments on policy?
No, nothing yet, but I'm really looking forward to this term and chairing policy.
Ms. Taylor, anything with curriculum coming up, or?
Very excited about what we just pushed forward, excited about what's to come for the year. There's always great curriculum being, baked in the background here in Windsor Public Schools, so stay tuned.
Next item, other matters. Board of Ed Long Range Planning Committee, it was just talked about, Tuesday, December 12th, 2023. That's 6:30 p.m., and that's virtual. And again, members of the public can weigh in on that. There's usually an audience to visitor in the beginning of our committee meetings. Next board regular meeting, Tuesday, December 19th at 6:30 p.m. There'll be a public forum on the budget, and the regular meeting will begin at 7 p.m. Other comments for the good of the group? Mr. King first, any other comments?
No, I just hope everyone has a really nice Thanksgiving, because it's turkey time or ham time if you prefer ham. I prefer ham.
Thank
you
you.
doing ribs? I'm going over to Dr. Hill's house.
You're going to what?
Going over to Dr. Hill's house. I heard he was hosting, the board. Mr. Madison, anything to add?
All good, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Wollaston?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Ms. Cantor?
Happy Thanksgiving. Are we giving our student reports from the schools? No?
If there's any highlights, you can do it now.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say that I attended the Veterans Day honoring celebration. It was beautiful. Mr. Gagne did such an awesome job, and he is a veteran, and he spoke of what he did when he was in training as a Marine, and what he was trained for is not what he did in the tank. Because you never know what you're going to be doing in the military. You're assigned certain things. The kids did an awesome job. Everybody did. Dr. Pierce and the Fancy Fiddlers, Mr. Mercier. I always say Mr. Mercier. I don't know if it's Mercier or Mercier. His chorus, the kids were great. They had another class that sang. Other kids did art projects and held them up to the veterans. Another student read a poem. It was beautiful. They're going to have Picture Retake Day. Let me find that. They have a lot going on there. And they're going to have the day of conferences. They're going to have a book fair. They went to the state capitol. They ran the Hartford Marathon. They raised, they had an award for celebrating for the pies, for the class trips. They just did crazy, immense things in a short amount of time. Oh, Picture Retake Day is November 28th, and the parent-teacher conferences are the 29th, 30th, and December 1st. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Lockhart?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and watch out for your neighbor and your fellow man, woman, and child. Thank you.
Mr. Halleck?
Just want to say good evening to everyone, and I'm looking forward to this in December, that December meeting.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor?
Thanking everyone for all the support for the board you see before you. It's not easy work. It's definitely, a payless job, but what we get back in the amazing return for, with these students, and it makes it priceless, for me anyway. Two things I'll lift, because I love to lift what people tell me in the community. First, the Veterans Day thing is amazing, all across, but it's hard to get to them all because they're all happening at the same time on the same day. So it came up at Dr. Hill's coffee chat. A parent asked, why do we do that? So, and I agree. Clover does theirs the day before, so it's just, for me to the administrators, maybe get together, have a meeting, maybe somebody do a luncheon. Not everything has to be done that Friday or that day in the morning, so that other people can get to, to support, especially our support members. We would love to go to more things than one. Dr. Hill and the cabinet would like to go to more things than one. So my suggestion is to have a meeting and work that out. The second thing that came up for me, thank you, Jill, for Ms. Cantor, for mentioning Picture Day. When we were at CABE, I'm not going to say the company, but they did a really great job. And what it reminded me of is a parent did reach out to me about how every school uses their own vendor for pictures, which some might say, oh, who cares? But if you have a parent that has a child at the high school, Sage Park, and Clover and Pequannock, and every single vendor, that's very costly. And when we had one vendor for the entire district, it was, you could have, if you had more than one child or more than two children, there was a price break on that. So my, just putting it out there for anybody who's listening, and Dr. Hill. Yes. If we could possibly make it so that we're working with one vendor, because I do have two children, two different schools, and it is a lot. And I'm not going to say who mentioned it to me, when you have a child in every different school, I never really thought about it, but it does cost a lot of money for these pictures, and every vendor is different, and the packages are different, so it gets really confusing. So I just want to put it out there that we should probably think about that next year, because it's rather difficult for parents financially. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Panos.
All I have to say is happy Thanksgiving. And I'll be doing my fair share of eating. That's it.
One thing I didn't mention earlier in President's report, one of our first robotics teams, Team Sharp, had their first competition ever this year in Southington. And they did very well for a first venture into this, including one Stephen Taylor. So
Who would that be?
hats off to Team Sharp. If you ever want to come by our build site, maybe Ayanna eventually can show what the team shirt looks like. It's got like this avocado, and it's actually name of it has to do with avocado spelled backwards or something. I don't know how these, when you give the power to the students to do these things, they run with it.
The Taylor family is a sponsor.
And
I just thought you reminded me, there's going to, this TSA Robotics are hosting this, aren't?
Yes.
Are you
Yes,
going to mention
I
that?
think-
Why don't you mention that?
yeah, I don't know.
December 9th. It's a
At
Saturday.
Sage Park.
It's Sage Park,
At
yep.
Sage Park.
It's an area, it's the state,
Yeah,
statewide.
I did see that, Ms. Rickus. And
That's
the
a fun
Sage
thing to
Park,
go to.
It is. Expect everyone there.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And last item is audience to visitor. I think she's got to do, you can sit, but Robin, you can do your thing. Online too.
Good evening, this is Robin Daly from the Superintendent's Office. If there's anyone from the public who would like to address the board, you may do so in two different ways. If you are using the Zoom application on your mobile device or computer, you may enter your name, address, and comment into the Q&A feature located at the bottom of the Zoom menu bar. Or you may raise your hand on your computer if your device has a microphone by selecting the participant's icon on the Zoom menu bar and then clicking raise hand, or by dialing *9 on your phone. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address. You'll be called on to speak. Please do not place the call on speakerphone. No comments can be made against the employees of the school district or children outside of your own. No comments will be made by the board at this time.
And as we said before, at the 2.5-minute mark, Ms. Taylor will briefly raise a red card, and at 3, she'll keep holding it up to say, please finish your remarks. And if you can't see it, because you're on a phone, and it makes sense you can't see it on your phone unless you're on a Zoom, at the 3-minute mark, Ms. Taylor will let you know to finish your remarks. So we'll first start with people in the boardroom.
Thank you. Hi, Susan Miller, 130 Palisado. I cannot be more in support of this long-term plan to look at the schools and build new schools. It is absolutely important that we do this, essential. And a little nod to Mr. Williston. As we rebuild, because I know we will, let's have the future in mind. Let's build net zero schools. Thinking about resilience to changing weather patterns, using solar, using geothermal, using very efficient development practices, great educational opportunity in sciences for the students and everybody involved. Very exciting. And it keeps ongoing expenses really low when you have a net zero school. So let's build for the future, and super, super excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
You get a double header tonight.
I guess so.
I won't keep you more than 3 minutes. Eric Weiner, 130 Palisado. This was just an amazing meeting, starting hearing from the accolades with the 6 students on to talking about the future. I don't know if you see it, how well things are aligned to continue to do amazing things here in Windsor. Just thinking through it, we have a town council now that is going to be quite action-oriented. They're not going to stick with just, oh, we've always done it this way. They're going to change things up, which is going to help you guys when you need to go for some funding. The work with CABE and at the national school board level is critical. And don't forget the Secretary of Education for the United States of America, Dr. Cardona, is from here. So the reach that we have to be a model, when you consider the diversity and the growth in Windsor, we are at where districts will be down the line. You can even consider, you got a lot of pressure on you now, Anthony. But you will find if we position this right, we have an amazing marketing team that wins awards. There needs to be a campaign that gets built. I read about outside funding from large philanthropies, whether it's Carnegie Foundation or Gates Foundation, and these folks think about 7, 8, 9-figure opportunities to create models. So think big. Don't let the small blockers get in the way. But what's missing? Who are the members of the public that are here right now? Well, it's a little weak. This has to be a town-wide effort. So there's a lot of grassroots building that is going to be required to pull off this vision, both here, and we're pitching the same thing at the town level. So the involvement of the PTAs at that grassroots level, the students themselves, is so key to make this successful. Don't forget about pre-K. We gotta, put the stake in the ground, let's just do it and fold it into the construction plans that we may have. So just in closing, Well, I look forward to seeing the school district profiled on 60 Minutes in 10 years for our 400th anniversary. I grabbed a URL on the internet that I'm happy to sign over to the board or the town called Forward to 400. Just go for it, and Windsor is worth it.
Thank you. Ms. Staley, you said there was one person online?
Without their hand raised.
With that, well,
Without their hand raised. They have no comment.
oh. Okay, so at this point, I'll look for a motion.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made to adjourn, seconded.